Hi, I'm Ivan from the LaCroix Cruiser.
I'm Ryan from Seeking Discovery.
And I'm Crystal
And Eric
from Lopez Around the World.
And we're here today to talk to you about living in buses. Now, the three of us live and travel in buses, but very different buses. Sylvie and I have a coach.
I have a traditional dog-nosed school bus.
And we have a city bus, Lead Trans City Bus.
Yeah. So very different buses, but all the same happy ending.
Yeah.
So we're comfortable, we're living the dream, we're enjoying our travels, and there's no real wrong bus and there's no real right bus for anyone.
That's right.
And we'd like to discuss what the different choices are and why we chose the bus we have.
Good.
So Eric, we'll start with you.
Well, when I chose our bus, one of the things it was the looks. I guess we just wanted to be different, because when we started looking at just
Unique.
Unique. We started looking, like everyone else gets in this trends of like looking.
Let's do a schoolie.
Let's do it schoolie, and then all you find is just schoolies. But since I'm a little out of the box kind of guy, I say, no, there's got to be something else. So then we saw these city bus and city transit bus. So that's one of the reasons I choose the city, just to be a little different. But then once we got there and we got inside the bus, we figured that we don't need to be doing any raised roof or anything, because it's a low bus floor. So everything is there's no storage. That's one of the things that we don't have. But if you are very creative.
Like immediate built-in
Right.
storage.
You have a wine cellar. Who else has a wine cellar in their bus?
So we everything in our bus is inside our bus. So water system and plumbing and electrical, all that is inside the bus. We can't really have anything underneath the bus. But that took us from that perspective of not putting anything underneath it or just making a roof raise. Other one that we really like a lot is the airbag. So we run in the airbags. The whole city bus, all the city bus has air suspension. So when we're riding in the streets or in the highway, it's just like
Floating along.
floating along, floating along. And again, everything has its pros and cons. What will be the problem of that is that we had the problem actually.
They pop.
When they pop.
Yeah.
It seems hard to change, but when we had that one person came and changed it, and it was changing like changing a tire. It was
Not difficult at all.
not difficult.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we know.
Yes, and now we know.
Right.
But
So Ryan, why a school bus? Why a dog nose?
Well, so to be honest, I didn't even think of motor coaches or transit buses when I started diving into schoolie lifestyle. I went very traditional in my mindset. And when comparing a dog nose to a flat nose, for me, I really liked the visual of a traditional school bus. So I chose to keep all my windows and really kind of keep the aesthetic. And then I had narrowed it down to different engines and transmissions that I wanted. And so I looked for dog noses that fit that bill, and additionally had a higher roof, 6'6", so that I didn't have to do a roof raise or anything like that.
So you have a factory, not raised roof, but you've got the high roof bus.
Yes, exactly.
Right. For us, it's a coach. What brought us into a coach, we were originally looking for a schoolie, and a coach came up on Marketplace. So we have no merit in our first coach. But after having the first coach, we didn't want to go to anything else. The coach, like the city bus, smooth ride. One of the other aspects of it is we travel to work. So we carry our tools with us. We carry everything we need to work. And part of that, the attraction of a coach is we have a basement.
yeah,
So they mentioned that they don't have a lot of storage, and actually Eric built in a lot of storage, so he's being modest here.
Underbelly storage.
Yeah, you don't have a basement like we do. Ryan in his bus, he's building storage here and there, and he's a lone traveler, so single women. He is an eligible bachelor. But
DMs are open on Instagram.
yeah, exactly. But anyways, for our needs, we're an older couple. We like to have our comfort. So we went with the biggest bus you can possibly buy other than having an articulated bus.
Which, out of curiosity, has anybody seen an articulated conversion?
Actually, it's Schoolie Swarm in the Ozarks. There was one there. And there's a couple from Canada, Nova Scotia, that they travel around in an articulated bus as well.
Oh,
Very cool.
okay.
Not exactly the most convenient way of traveling. We have a 45-foot bus, and that's a challenge some days. I can just imagine a 60-foot articulated bus, and not many campgrounds will accept that length.
True.
Yeah. Build costs. This is something that I get a question a lot about, and actually, it's all the same. Whether you had built a coach, a dog nose, or a transit, it's what you're putting in it that costs money. It's not it's not the shell.
It's not the show.
Right.
And they all need insulation. They
Yes.
all need plumbing, electric, HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, it's a shell.
Right.
And then inside, those are the things you need 100% of the time. From there, it depends. You could have these kind of cabinets or the more expensive kind of cabinets.
Yeah.
And that's where you get to fluctuate your build cost.
For us, we saved a lot of money by buying used and reclaimed materials and grade B materials. I know Ryan's bus is extremely budget conscious.
Facebook Marketplace will
Yeah.
be your best friend for finding deals on building materials.
Right. And that's where our flooring came from. That's where our water heater came from. That's where our toilet came from. So yeah, the Facebook, our shower and all that fun stuff. So yes, definitely Facebook Marketplace. And if you have sort of an extended timeline and you know what you want, you can start shopping for it even before buying a bus.
Yes.
There are a lot of other things that go into building a bus, water storage, etc. How did you guys handle it?
In our transit, we don't have anything, so we had to build it. I had to build a floor inside our transit bus. So we went about 13 inches high so we can fit our tanks underneath the flooring. And right above for that is the kitchen, living room, and everything else. So we had to build inside for our water surge.
We bought our water tanks from Amazon.
Yeah.
Because Facebook Marketplace, like you said, is excellent, but you have to shop around as well. Sometimes Amazon will be cheaper, or maybe not cheaper, but the only place available. Maybe there aren't exactly what you're looking for on Facebook.
Right at the moment that you need it, it's not there, but you need it. So
Yeah.
we got into the point, you know what, let's just order it. Came in 3 days. We got it.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Because in our transit bus, we have slide out, so that costs a little bit more money to us. And it runs out of hydraulics, so we had to buy all the equipment and pay somebody to come and do all the welding and all that stuff. So, like you said, it depends what you're building, how you're building it. Some of us will spend more money than others, but because of the way that we want to create our home, the slide outs were a little bit cost for us.
Yeah. And yeah, they have an amazing slide out. It's 2 slide outs, one on each side. Yeah.
Kitchen and living room.
Right.
Gives us an extra 4 feet of width, which is a lot more square footage when they're open.
And unlike a lot of RVs, though, their bus is actually useful or usable with the slide outs closed. So
Yeah,
We
yes.
still have
Yeah.
adequate
We
walking
still-
room down the center.
Right.
Yeah.
If the slide out's not working, it doesn't matter. We still have our space, just like a regular bus.
Well, we
Yeah.
never had them not work.
Right.
But
No, but there are times when you can't open it. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
if you're stopping at a Walmart to sleep overnight, it's not really.
not really,
yeah.
yes.
poor
Yeah.
form to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
poor form.
Yep.
We mentioned building costs and saving up. There's another thing that a lot of people that haven't built a bus yet have this idyllic dream that I'll be done in 3 months. Sorry, I should have waited till you stopped drinking.
That was not the plan.
Yeah. No, it's not going to happen in 3 months. Sylvie and I spent almost a year and a half full time. And when I say full time, 60 hours a week each. So that's 120 hours a week. And we're used to doing this. We're experienced. How long did your build take?
So my build, the initial phase I tell folks took about 5 months, and then I traveled for a month and a half, figured out what worked, what didn't, and then finished it for a total of 9 months. And for me, my lease was ending, so I had a hard date of it needs to be livable but not done, which is where that 5-month window came in.
And just so you know, done is the day you sell it. It's never done.
Never done.
Yeah. How long did it take you?
We estimate about 8 months if we squished all the time that that we worked on it because we were still working full time doing our other businesses and jobs. So we were evenings and weekends and sometimes taking days off. So, 18-hour days. So if you push all that together, we estimate around 8 months. But again, we did it in phases too. So that was to get it mostly done and mostly livable, but we're still adding and tweaking.
We're still adding and moving.
Improving.
Yeah. So it's not like completely.
So from purchase to your first trip, what was that window of time?
That was, I would say, 14 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our maiden voyage, we took it to Destin, Florida, and Hurricane Sally met us there.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
times.
Yeah. Now the build time, a lot of people underestimate that. They underestimate some costs as well. And one of the costs that you need to include in that is maintenance. Yeah. A lot of people, they'll buy a bus. I drove it home, it was fine. Then they park it for 14 months, 9 months, 18 months in our case. And when they go to start it up, the batteries are dead. The fuel is gelled. The wheel seal is broken, etc. So when building a bus, from experience, the best thing you can do is every week or 2 weeks at the most, take it for a drive. Go get ice cream. Go get the groceries. Go pick up some plywood, whatever. But take it for a drive. And also, as you're building, you can listen for things like rattles. And
yes,
if you made
important.
a mistake somewhere.
Huge. Yes.
Now, just in case you're wondering, we're talking about buses, but behind us is a tiny home. Where are we, Ryan?
So we're at Hummingbird Tiny Housing in Central Georgia right now. And we actually just were here for the first annual Southeastern Tiny House Festival. We had probably 30-some different structures, buses, vans, food trucks, and then other unique tiny houses as well.
And this one is extremely unique. It's built out of a silo. So it's not a tiny house that you're going to see rolling down the road. No. It's here, it's permanently here. But Hummingbird, this location is idyllic. Idyllic? How do you say it? English is second language for me.
Idealistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just beautiful.
Idealistic.
We'll put it that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful setting. We had a great weekend. So next year, sometime around October, there should be the second Hummingbird Tiny Home Festival or Southeastern Tiny Home Festival. So look for that. And we'll be back, trust me.
And in the meantime, the rentals here are gorgeous. They have a really great price point. There's horses and donkeys and a pig on site. It's just
pet
such
pig.
a peaceful.
Yeah.
It's such a peaceful place to have like a romantic weekend away, and their Wi-Fi is killer now, so you can have a little work staycation here.
Yeah.
Man. I don't know how it would be so hard to choose which one because they're all so beautiful.
And they have a variety of tiny homes, and we're actually working on getting them a bus. But the bus will be parked here. It'll be a tiny home, not a moving bus. But if you want to experience tiny living, coming to something like this, and there are other places around the country. We're in Danville, Georgia at the moment, but it's a great way to look at it. And they're tiny structures. They go from anything from, I think the shortest one is about 18 feet.
So 200 square feet interior on the smallest to the silo at about 800 square feet.
So
everything in between.
Yeah, so it gives you really options of this is what I want to do, and can I live in a tiny space?
Yes. Yeah.
For myself and Sylvie, we went from a 3,200 square foot house to a 300 square foot bus. And I would not go back. How about you guys?
I was in an 1,100 square foot townhouse with 2 roommates, and now I'm in 225 square feet, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
We still have our home, which is about just under 1,700 square feet, but every time we go in the bus, we'll spend 2 months at a time, and the first time we did that, I thought this will be a real test. If we get sick of this, then it's not for us. And I didn't miss the house at all.
Not at all.
No.
And one of the first, when we were starting to get into bus life, is we rented a tiny house. And it's also how we made some of our decisions, like what kind of toilet do we want. Did you guys stay in any tiny houses before you built?
No. So we had an RV, and our bus experience started with the RV, and it was a weekender going to racetracks. That's what we used it for. And then my my career transitioned to where I was traveling so much that it actually became less expensive to drive the bus everywhere than flights, hotels, restaurants, rental cars, etc.
Parks and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I was lucky enough, and this was even before I thought about bus life, but I got to stay in a shipping container house
cool.
down in Asheville,
That was
North
nice.
Carolina, and that was 40 foot long, 9.5 foot tall, and like 8 feet wide. So it was a similar footprint to
Yes,
our
to
buses.
our buses. Yeah.
And it's amazing what you can fit in such tiny
Yeah.
spaces.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it just takes some creativity.
Yeah. I mean, when we go back home, since we own a house, it's a little bit. It takes a lot for us to like get used to that, because when we in the bus, it's like feel like, yes, this is
home.
This is home. Then when you go back
Yeah.
over there, like, now I'm in this house, and there's so much space, so much stuff to deal with it, and oh my
More
God,
to
it
clean.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yard
So
maintenance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also,
I mean,
after
it's-
a few weeks, you're like, man, I really am sick of seeing the same.
yeah,
When you go outside your door, it's the same. And even though we love our
Yeah.
neighborhood, it's like I want to go somewhere. I want to see new friends.
it's like you become this zombie in your head, and then this is what you do, and then we're like, wait a minute, I don't live here, right? And then when you take off, you take off.
We're living, we're not existing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that.
The nomadic lifestyle is great, and one of the reasons that Crystal and Eric are not nomads yet is because they also have a shop and they build buses for other people.
Yeah.
So that is, if you want the nomadic life, if you want the bus life, van or whatever, Eric is one of the premier builders in the country in terms of not only quality but communication. And
It's very important.
unfortunately, we see online, and we've actually met some people that have had very, very bad experience with some builders, and it mostly comes down to communication. The builder isn't able to do a proper estimate, so their price point is too low. They think that, oh yeah, I can build this for $30,000 for you and get it done in 3 months. That's unrealistic.
It's really unrealistic.
If you're paying for labor, $30,000 is very unrealistic because, like Eric has overhead costs. He's paying for the shop, the electricity, the insurance, all that. He's properly insured. He's a legitimate business.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to have a bus built,
Yeah.
just go see Studio
Yeah,
Express.
and-
But if you're wanting to deal with another builder, or, Eric is too booked up, but find out, get references from that builder. Get not
Yes.
just the friend or pictures on Instagram. Actually talk to people.
Yes, people that have been building, and that's one of the reasons we like to, we could have just take off and not do the bus build, right, and live for it. But we talk to so many people that have been to so many problems, and we like, you know what? Let's just make it right. Let's do it right how it's supposed to be. So we kind of like, okay, we'll stop our life for this time, and make other people to see what's out there. But
We got a taste of it, and we
taste
want
of it, yeah.
to empower others to be able to
Yeah.
have that dream.
and
for
do it
themselves.
safe. Do it safe in a house that is safe, and everything that you have built in there is safe.
Yeah.
So
And in the realm of safety, if their calendar's booked up, check with your builder and see if they're even familiar with NOAA, which is the National Organization of Alternative Housing.
that's right.
They have a safety standard where if your builder is following them, you'll actually get a stamp of approval and a placard that goes on the vehicle showing that you met the standards and all the safety requirements, where a lot of builders are starting to cut corners to, again, fit that low estimate and that low timeline, which isn't safe or realistic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Evan. I'm
No.
just going to add about the NOAA sticker. So that obviously gives you peace of mind for safety, but it also has other benefits like either lower premiums of insurance or getting insurance, period.
Yeah.
And as well, it can allow you entrance into certain areas that sometimes may not necessarily welcome buses as much, but once you have that sticker, it really helps if that's where you choose to go.
Right.
Yep.
And speaking of entrance into places, good segue.
Yeah.
There's a unfortunate stigma around school buses. Have you experienced?
I'm fortunate enough to not have experienced it, but that's because I focus on like state parks, harvest hosts, Boondockers Welcome, and I stay away from more of the RV resorts or private campgrounds for that exact reason.
Right. And if you're a campground owner or a private RV resort, don't be afraid of school buses. Do a little inspection of it. Have them send you pictures. You'll see that they're just as well, if not better, than most of the factory RVs out there.
Right.
Some of them are questionable on their build quality, but others are very, safe and safe for your park, safe electrically, and all of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, well, actually all three of us here, run 100% off solar. So Sylvie and I have had to stay, and I say have to stay because with work sometimes we have no choice, at RV parks, and they're amazed that we don't even plug in. We're just there to park.
Yeah.
Just to park and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the three of us, or the four of us, but the three different buses, we also do consulting.
Yes.
So Eric and Crystal, not only do they consult for their own builds, but they'll consult for other people's builds. So
Yeah.
to help you decide on what bus you need and how it needs to be figured out, because a lot of buses are Instagram perfect, but that doesn't mean they're perfect for the people living in it. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Perfectly safe for that matter. Even.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right. Well, and function for me is huge, as I know it is for you two
Yeah.
as well. But trained as an occupational therapist, accessibility and function just is a huge passion for me. So whether someone has a disability or whether someone does not, if you need to move 3 things to access that one thing you use multiple times a day, that's just not functional. And so that's kind of where we come in. Ivan's really great at that as well, as is Ryan. And so if you're wanting to kind of do your own build or even work with another builder, but maybe you want some consulting ideas on low vision or safety and sensory concerns with maybe someone with autism or any type of disability, whether it's a physical, cognitive, or any type of disability, then I really am passionate about everybody being able to get on the road who wants to, and to eliminate any barriers for anyone.
Yeah. No. And, paying a consulting fee, whether it's to them, to Ryan, or to myself, actually saves you a lot of money. We've been there, we've done that. We've seen other people's mistakes, and we've made mistakes as well.
Yes.
But we also know how to guide you in the right direction. And I have a questionnaire. Anybody that wants consulting, or even just leave us a message below with your email, and I'll send you out the questionnaire that we send out. And that questionnaire helps to guide you in what is the best bus for you. And you might find out after reading the questionnaire that, hey, a van is better for me.
Right.
Or I need a factory RV, or I'm better off with a fifth wheel. So there's a lot of different things. Now, Ryan has one little, not negative, but one thing he wishes he would have done differently, because he's got these beautiful stickers on the back of his bus, and one of them says, my bus gets cranky at 55 miles an hour.
That is correct.
Right. So explain that one.
When I was researching school buses, I was looking at engines and transmissions, but I didn't know to look at the rear gear ratio in your drivetrain. And so I found the bus that I thought was perfect, had the engine I wanted, the transmission I wanted, the high roof, but I didn't bother to check what the top speed really that it will do. And because I've got that poor gearing in the rear end of my bus, really 55 to 57 is about what I top out at when I'm cruising down the interstate. Whereas these guys can put pedal to the metal and go a little bit quicker. So if you are considering a school bus, crawl under the rear end, check it out, or even take the VIN and call the manufacturer. And a lot of times they'll be able to provide what that gear ratio is for the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
And no matter what bus you're buying, take it for a drive. Don't just show up with cash and drive away. Actually take it for a test drive. Have it inspected mechanically. And do all your mechanical repairs before you do anything in the bus.
Yeah.
Including tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, tires, if you can hold off just a little bit.
If you need new tires.
Oh, yeah. If you need new tires, by all means.
All the expenses
Yeah.
for the build.
Yeah, get all that out of the way. And, change the oils, change all the fluids. Do all of that. Get your bus ready as if you're going on a cross-country trip. Then from there, you know you're building on a solid foundation.
Yes. Yep.
Because unfortunately, we see it too often. People build this amazing bus, it looks great, and then we don't hear from them again. Yeah,
Oh, it's so sad.
yeah,
The
exactly.
last thing you want is to break down 5 miles down the road after
Or two.
you're so excited about
Yeah.
getting this. Or 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it happened to
and
them.
that's another point. Like, if you are hiring a builder, make sure that either you're allowed to come in and drive it once a month during the build, or they will turn it on and drive it, whatever your comfort is and whatever the builder's comfort level is on that, because it shouldn't be sitting for 6 months plus, while it's being built
No.
without being turned on.
And whether you're building for yourself or you're having someone build for you, make it your own. Like we said before,
Yep.
that's easy to do. Don't do it for Instagram. Don't do it for TikTok and all that fun stuff. It's great to have the recognition, but that is not what's going to make you comfortable as you're living in the bus.
Yeah.
One thing I see in a lot of buses, and it's for some people it works out wonderfully. For other people, not so much. Is the couch that turns into a bed because I'm going to have all my friends over and they're going to sleep over in the bus. And when you're in your apartment or your house, how often do you have people sleeping over? If it's every week, then yeah, maybe you want that. If you've never had someone sleep over at your house, what is making you think that they're going to do that in your bus?
Right.
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 It's a space that you're saving.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
And speaking of comfortable, maybe Ivan, talk about insulation, because you could have this beautiful bus, and if you don't do that properly, you're not going to have any fun.
Yeah, insulation is by far the foundation of comfort in a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With poor insulation, you're not going to be a happy camper no matter where you are. And insulation, a lot of people from the south, they think, oh, we don't need insulation, it doesn't get cold here. Well, insulation is against heat just as much as it is
You're
against
in a
cold.
tin box.
Yeah, yeah,
Oven.
yeah.
Little oven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in an easy bake oven. Yes. So insulation is key. And again, from building buses, from doing all of that, there's a lot of myths that go around about insulation. And there's a lot of,
That's right.
the old wives' tales and stuff. Today's urethane foam, spray in urethane, is not the same stuff from 10 years ago. Environmental laws have changed. It's a safe product now.
Yep.
Not the stuff you do yourself, though. But
That's right.
what you have a professional spray, 30 minutes after the bus is sprayed, you can move in. It's that, the off-gassing that people worry about doesn't exist really.
Yeah.
But, all 3 of our buses are
Insulated.
insulated with spray foam.
Yeah.
And we have an additional one in ours, which is Ceratex. Ceratex 3170, so ceramic textile, 3170. It's a great product. It's only 1/8 of an inch thick, and it provides a complete thermal barrier. So if you don't know what thermal bridging is, do a deep dive on Google, know what it is and how to eliminate it.
Yeah.
Because that is going to make the biggest difference in your comfort.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as windows.
Yeah, windows. So we have double pane windows. Ryan wanted to keep that school bus aesthetic, so he's got the factory leakers.
Well,
You fixed them though.
I did. I pulled every single window out of my bus, pressure washed it, cleaned the old sealant, resealed them, recaulked them.
Right.
And then added curtains that also add as insulation in
Exactly.
this hot and cold climate.
Right. And for you guys, you have some of the original windows.
No, we did. We did kept all the original windows in it. And yes, you're right. We took about 4 of them out so we can do the slide outs.
Yeah.
But the rest of the windows are the windows that it was on the
Right.
transit.
Yeah. And those are double pane windows though.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are, and also they actually have a film inside.
Yes.
I don't know if you see the transit buses that you can't really see the people unless they turn the light on inside.
Right.
'Cause it's the same way. Yes.
Right. And Eric had the unfortunate experience with one of the builds that the person wanted absolutely to save money on insulation and have Eric do the spray foam insulation with the froth packs.
Yes.
That did not work out.
Did not work out. But like I said, like most of the builds that we do, we actually do it ourselves. We do it ourselves. But sometimes we let the customer we'll go by their budget, and then we'll go by
And their
what they can
choices.
afford and their choices. And unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work that way. But in this particular one, it did work that way. But after that, we make a few changes, and we're not doing that anymore. We're
Yeah.
just kind of,
Well,
this
and
is
a couple non-negotiables that we will absolutely not do, regardless of someone's budget, is we will always have licensed professionals, including a licensed electrician, a licensed plumber, a licensed HVAC, and now professional spray foam installers, because we'll do a lot of setup and be involved in it, but it's very important to us in terms of going back to safety that everything's inspected 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12 times over
Right.
again.
Yep.
And this is all prior to then being third-party inspected by NOAA.
Right.
yes,
And one other, especially in the schoolie world, there's 3 things that are popular that will prevent you from being insured. And those are,
Rooftop deck is probably the number one.
yeah, yeah,
Maintenance
platform.
yeah,
And,
wrong answer, yeah.
Yeah.
the other one is your heating little nice
Fireplace, yeah.
fireplace.
stove.
Your
You
wood
know,
burning stove.
Right.
Yeah, it looks nice. Yes, it does. It's very
And it
beautiful.
provides heat
It provides the heat,
for an hour.
Gotta restock it.
Yeah,
but it's a no-no.
right. And if you're, you can't imagine living in your schoolie without a rooftop deck or a roof raise or the wood burning
burning.
stove. You want to get it in writing, not by your insurance broker, but by your insurance company, that they will insure you with that. And I've counseled many people that were adamant that they could do this and they wanted to do that. They could never get it in writing. And it eventually came down to the insurance company saying, no, we will not insure you if you have a roof raise. Now, you can get insurance, but that doesn't mean you're covered.
Yes.
Right. So if
Yes.
it ever comes to a claim,
Right.
that rooftop maintenance platform, you posted one picture on Instagram of you up there with a nice beverage looking over the lake, you're gone.
And your claim could have nothing to do with the
Exactly.
maintenance
Yeah,
platform
it
slash
does.
roof deck.
Yeah.
That's
obviously
right.
the insurance company's way out. And we're not hating on any of these ideas. They're
No, no, no.
phenomenal
No,
ideas.
mm-mm.
We just want you to, be informed
Be
and
informed
make
with
the
it.
best decisions, because
Right.
that's so, I would say, well, you couldn't take a wood burning stove out. You can remove a rooftop deck. You can't really reverse a roof raise. But even all 3, they're really hard to go back on once you've decided and built it. And so knowing ahead of time how to, protect yourself is really important.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things about a roof raise that we see a lot of people doing, and our bus has a roof raise, but it's a factory roof raise. So it came from the factory with the roof raised, which is fine. The insurance company has no qualms with that because they know it's engineered and the bus is designed for it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will do a 20, 24, 30-inch roof raise.
I've seen a 30.
Yes, there was one at school at UP.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it might have been 36
Yes.
even.
Wow.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
almost looked,
Cathedral ceilings.
it was almost comical. Because it was a shorter bus, too.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
massive raise.
Yeah. They said, hey, the legal limit on the road is 13.6. That's where we're going.
Well, and if that's your logic, like we can definitely understand where that would come from. But you have to think of the bigger picture as well.
Right.
The other considerations.
And one of the major considerations is heating and cooling. Every foot you go up is an extra 300 cubic feet that you have to
Insulate and make
to
sure-
cool, to heat.
Yeah.
Also, school buses, so little difference between our buses. The engine in a coach is basically the same engine you'll find in a tractor trailer. So it's designed to be pulling around 80,000 pounds, and our bus weighs 42. So the engine is just loafing along. In a schoolie, the engine is a little taxed.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of school buses have basically the same engine that you'll find in a heavy-duty pickup truck.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
but the school bus is designed to go half a mile at a time, 50 miles a day. So it's more than enough engine in its original configuration. The transit bus, it's designed to be carrying a lot of people.
A lot of people, same as yours.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
And, it moves around. So your power to weight ratio is actually quite good as well.
right.
Right.
But where people get into trouble with the roof raise is they put a little too high of a roof raise on, And then their little engine that could is now the little engine that doesn't want to anymore. Because basically, if we'll start with a standard school bus body, it's 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall.
Yes.
So you've got that envelope going through the air. If you put a 2-foot roof raise on it, you've increased the surface area that it's pushing. And even if you have that nice transition, it's still the same surface area. That hole through the atmosphere is now 25% greater, meaning your engine feels like it's climbing a hill all the time.
The
So-
pressure is just right hitting it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right
because they're
hard.
not exactly aerodynamic.
They're bricks on wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The dog nose is probably the most aerodynamic of the bunch. Now, another difference between transits, coaches, and school buses is the width. So school buses by law are 96 inches wide. Coaches and city buses or transit buses are allowed to be 102 inches wide.
Yep.
And 6 inches does make a difference.
A lot. Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like walking through your living room and kitchen area compared to mine, I always say that we're doing the tiny house tango because you're trying to like shuffle around folks. But in yours, there's plenty of room for 2 people to pass each other without any issues.
Right. Now, one of the things that Eric and Crystal do, I do as well, and Ryan did with his bus, I believe, is when you're planning on the layout and all of that, not just tape on the ground. Get some boxes, get some cardboard, some old plywood, whatever, and actually physically build
Feel.
your bus.
Feel your bus
Because
already.
2
built.
lines on the floor that are 18 inches apart, you can walk through them, not a problem, go, hey, this is good. And then you build it.
Yeah.
Until you build it, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to put all that stuff in it. So that way you feel corners, you feel the actually wall, what is going, you have to do it.
Well, and sometimes, like Ivan said, you can walk through the tape, but what are your shoulders doing? So once you build the walls, are your shoulders able to go through the hallway without you having to turn to the side? And
Yeah.
maybe the clearance is fine, but once it's built, you kind of feel a little claustrophobic. You'll know that when you build something 3-dimensional, even if it's hanging a curtain.
Yeah.
Something
Even
like
if
that.
it's hanging a
Yeah.
curtain. Yeah.
There's a tiny house here this weekend, and it's not a Hummingbird tiny house. It's another vendor. They had, a bunch of different builders of tiny houses here. And there's one that the door into the bedroom is so narrow that I can't get through it if I'm walking straight.
Straight.
I have to
Right.
go sideways.
And
Right.
that gets old when you're living in it.
Yeah. And this one is meant as a stationary tiny home, so people are going to be living in it. So, I think even Crystal, you feel a little tight. You're not tight going through there, but
It
Yeah.
feels
yeah,
a
it
little-
feels
Yeah.
tight.
And it wasn't necessary, we noticed.
No,
Like,
exactly.
There's plenty of room to widen the doorway. So
Yeah.
it was just that forethought that was
Yep.
missed.
Right.
And that's one of the not problems, but one of the things that people talk about. Oh, they're going on a bus, everything is small. No, not actually. If you just put everything in perspective, you don't need to have a kitchen that is like 36, 48, inches wide, and now you're taking half of the bus. No, that's why you're doing this, to make sure that certain areas that you don't need to be so big, and then it's gonna make the bus bigger, right? Essentially bigger once
Right.
you start putting everything in it. So it's always better just to put a curtain, like she said, put a box, and then if you see that a kitchen is too big, make it a little bit, smaller.
Right.
Just
Put a
work from
chair
there.
in the bathroom, sit on it. Where do
Yeah.
your knees end?
Yeah.
Do you want
Yeah.
the door to the bathroom right by your knees? What about a taller person? You gotta
Yeah.
think of these things.
And there's this amazing resource called Google. And Uncle Google knows a lot of the different things.
Yeah.
And if you, just Google dinette dimensions, and it'll give you how high the table should be,
Yes.
how deep the bench should be to be comfortable, how high the seat needs to be. All these things. Same thing with the bathroom. There's building standards established for a reason, that you need X amount of space left and right. You need X amount of space in front of the toilet.
Yeah.
And those are all things you need to consider. And, Ryan has a composting toilet. We both have flush toilets, but our plumbing systems, all 3 of them are very different.
Yes.
So they have a gray and black tank. We have a combined waste tank, and you have a gray only tank.
Well, it's got the urine diverter.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Combined waste.
in a lot of states, in a lot of areas, as soon as there's a drop of urine in your gray tank, it's now a black tank.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's a lot of consideration, and the wind has died down here, and now we have all these little insects flying around. So if you see us swatting,
Yes.
yeah, there's a reason. But the toilet situation is something. So we are at a tiny home festival. We had 2,500 people come through our buses this weekend. That has to be the most asked question.
Yeah.
You know,
That-
how do you go to the bathroom?
How do you go to the bathroom?
I sit down.
We sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And on another thing that I keep asking is the appliances. You don't need a big stove if you don't cook.
Unless you want
Like,
one.
if you don't cook, did you hear what I said? I said,
Yeah.
if you don't cook, just because you saw it on Instagram and it looks nice, you don't need that. But if you're going to cook a little bit, pull it out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
do your cooking, pull it back in.
Yeah, we have our appliance garage with, you know, the microwave and the
Right. It
convection
just-
oven and all that in there.
Yeah, and some of us have big refrigerators. Other ones don't need that big. It's just that when you're building something, stop going and seeing videos and they look beautiful and everything. Do it to suit you. You know, like
Yeah.
What's right for you
We
may
ha-
not be right
not for you.
me,
That's
No.
right.
right for Ivan. And that's the best part about living tiny is you get to customize
Yes.
what is right for you.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no perfect bus. There never will be.
Yeah.
And even if someone thinks their bus is perfect, it's perfect for them.
Yes.
But
yes.
talk to them a month later and they'll go, oh yeah, I want to change this.
Yes.
Well, that's another thing. That questionnaire will help, get you to think those things way ahead of time and help you make those decisions. How much do you cook? Do you like to go get fresh food every single day? Maybe your fridge can be smaller. Just considerations you may not think of.
Yeah. And, one of the things that people dreaming about a bus is, I want to be off grid for 2 months. You're still going to have to go into town to get food. At some point.
Unless you build something above the
Yeah,
bus
unless
and
you're
create your own
unless you're
plants.
foraging and hunting for your food, you are going to need to go into town.
Yes.
And it's not good for your vehicle to stay stationary for that long. For us, we have enough tank capacity that 2-3 weeks, if we stretch it, we could be out in the middle of the desert, not a problem.
Now, if you're stationary that long, do you, turn on the bus? and
No,
let it
actually,
run?
starting the engine, especially with a diesel, it's not required. It's moving. It's physically moving the bus. It's more the suspension, the brakes, all of that, the wheel bearings that need to be rotated and moved on a regular basis. The engine can sit for a year. That doesn't matter. But actually driving the bus. And for us, like I said, we have to go into town to get food. We love to cook. And, at these gatherings, we cook for everyone.
Best cooks.
So it's just part of what we do. It's who we are. But that being said, the dream of being off-grid forever, electrically, we are off-grid forever. We've never plugged in. It's just a waste of our time. We have people plug into us, but we don't plug into we don't plug into the grid. But as far as water and all that, you need to move your bus anyways.
Yes.
So size your tanks accordingly.
Yes.
Figure out what you want. And, Ryan has a composting toilet. He's very happy with the composting toilet. And most people that have a composting toilet are happy with it.
Yes.
And just one little precision, though, it shouldn't really be called a composting toilet. It should be called a dry toilet.
Yeah.
It's great marketing to call it a composting toilet. It's not in there long enough to compost.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Anything you change in your bus?
So this one may sound odd, but I would move, so right now my refrigerator's on the passenger side, I would move it to the driver's side. And the reason I say that is when you're driving down the road, the shoulder of the road is usually rougher than the inside, so my fridge kind of gets bounced around a little bit more on the passenger side than it would if it was on the driver's side going down the center of the road.
Right. For you two?
Our Achilles heel in terms of this off-grid forever and ever is our black tank. Just because of where we decided to position the toilet in the body of the bus, wheel wells consideration, there was a small area. So our black tank is only 18.5 gallons. So that's what fills up first, needing us to go into town and find a dump station. So I didn't know that black and gray combined was a thing when we built. We didn't know that. And so that's probably something that we would change just to give us a little bit more time.
Yeah.
For us, honestly, nothing. Now, like I said, there's no perfect bus, but the bus we have now is the perfect one for us. And it is our third bus in 6 years. So when we were in the first bus, we knew, we have to change this. There's a whole list of stuff we wanted to change. The second bus, we, did that, and there were still some items on the list that, no, we have to do this. This third bus, we now have it to a point where we wouldn't change much. Actually, the one thing that I think all of us can agree on, what we change is we should have started this sooner.
Yeah.
But, we travel not to see places, we travel to see people. And I think all of us, it's the same thing. And a lot of nomads start off traveling to see places, and it turns out that they're traveling to see people. This is such a great community.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe the feeling you get. It's, I always say, gatherings like this is a tiny home festival. But there was 6 buses here,
Yeah.
and we all had supper together. We all had breakfast together. We're really a community. We did an oil change on one bus.
More of a family.
Yeah, it definitely is a family.
Yeah.
And it's something that until you experience it, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast. Like, we haven't known each other very long yet. We've met up at least almost a dozen times at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a couple that here right now, they're not with us. It would have been great to have them here on the video with us. But last night they went to see their son get engaged. So, we'll give them that. They have a good reason. But they're just into this 3 months.
Yes.
So they built their bus. They took a leap of faith. They retired and or semi-retired. If you're looking for laborers, they're happy. But nonetheless, they realized that this really is the family and the community they were looking for. We met them for the first time at Schoolie UP, which is a gathering in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, first week of August. And that was their first trip ever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was their
Bon voyage.
inaugural trip. And to be, parachuted in or driven in, but their first trip to be with 120 other nomadic families, just opened their eyes. And now they're blindly going where the road takes them.
Yes. Yeah.
We were at Schoolie Swarm in North Carolina last weekend, and they were there, and Ryan said, "Hey, why don't you come to Hummingbird Tiny Homes?" And here they are, and they spent the week here.
A week before this whole thing came up. Yeah.
And there's
So they-
always a next event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not goodbye, it's see you down the road, and there's always something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And of course, you can go, and if you are looking to see some places in amongst seeing your peoples,
Yeah.
there's always time to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you come to a tiny home festival, a bus gathering, bring your camera. We all carry a camera with us now, anyways, in our cell phone. But bring a notebook and ask questions, and ask people the hard questions, like, what would you change?
Yep.
Do you actually like doing this?
Yeah.
What are the problems you've had? And we've all had problems with our buses. You can maintain it. I follow the manufacturer's maintenance schedule to a T, and we still have little issues here and there. But we've never had a big catastrophic breakdown. That comes down to maintenance. And and having a little slush fund on the side or a credit card that has a good limit but nothing on it can always, it's a safety net.
Exactly.
And speaking of community, when you do run into those issues, there's always somebody that's willing to come out and help you, whether it's actually helping you fix the engine or just sitting with you until you get the help.
Yeah, well, your inaugural trip with Lola was that.
Yeah.
You
It
met
was
some
really
great
that.
people.
Yes.
Because of the bus breaking down, they met great people. They made lifelong friends.
That's
and
right.
that was our parachute in, and we realized, oh, yeah, this isn't about places to see. This really is about the people, and you see the places on the way to the people.
Yeah.
And now all of our trips are, oh, you're going to be there? Yes, we're coming.
Yeah. And that breaking down, at first as a driver, when I was driving, I was like, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to break down. I don't, But when we had those two people staying with us, it's like you forgot that you broke down, you know?
Oh, we played
and
cards.
and it's like
yeah.
that. Like that's one of the things that we have questions.
Yeah.
What you do when you break down? Well, it is
Well,
I'm
we-
home.
We make dinner. We make dinner.
we
make
did it, a
drinks,
barbecue, and
Yeah.
we invite
play cards,
everybody.
We
So,
go to our own bed.
so
Yeah,
the least thing of a problem that we think is the biggest is not even that. It's just
Part of the adventure.
you make a text or a phone call, and everybody just right there, just answer after answer. To look at this, look at that, go look at this, call this person, and then somebody calls you don't even met before. They're like, hey, listen, they just called me and said you need help. I know that.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
That
So
really
amazing.
surprised me.
Yeah.
And you know, when you own a traditional home, you're gonna have to change the roof. You're gonna have the furnace blow up. You're gonna have the air conditioner decide to stop
Yeah.
working.
Appliances.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's always maintenance to do. And on our buses, yes, there's always maintenance to do.
Yes.
But it's not that bad. And the living costs, this is where, you know, apart from the people and all that, but the nitty gritty, the financials, it's so much nicer.
You have a lot more control over it too.
Right.
If you want to save money this month, travel less.
Yeah.
Don't use as much fuel. And the month-to-month expenses like insurance, internet, those are similar and or cheaper than a traditional living environment.
Right. But we have no utility bills. We have no mortgage. You know, we have nothing else basically. So yes, if you have Tom and Jody, the couple we were talking about, what's their Instagram?
Seeking Shenanigans.
Yes. So they had a catastrophic breakdown. They lost their front wheel on the bus. But it was due to improper maintenance, unfortunately. They bought the bus. They were green. They were told the bus was in great shape by a mechanic. And lo and behold, they had no oil in their front hub, and it just seized up and broke off. So, but now they have to work just a little bit instead of being fully retired just to recoup that cost, but it's not that big a deal. You know, even though it was a quote-unquote catastrophic failure, it was $10,000. Again,
Barely get a roof for that these
yeah,
days.
you know, your roof.
They're okay, and they're still having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't a life or death safety
No.
situation.
Right.
It wasn't, nothing blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in Florida, when our AC breaks down, easy 9 to 10 grand to fix it.
Yeah, and
You know,
you have to have it fixed because you
Right.
can't live in your house.
And living in your house, no one knows about it. You're not gonna call your friend, your daddy, your mama, not nobody. It's all of you. Here,
Yes.
you break down, and it's like everybody just want to put something, you know, in
Yeah.
and help you out with.
Now,
I'll call Ivan.
some of the Facebook groups, and we'll recommend one here, I think we can all agree, Schoolie Swarm. It is the most family-oriented, loving, supportive Facebook group I've ever seen. There's 5,000 members, and you can ask any question in the world, you'll get a true answer.
Yeah.
You won't get sarcasm, the odd sarcastic funny remark, but you know, you won't get the
You
nasties.
don't get hate.
No, you don't get hate, you don't get nasties. And if someone does post something like that, they just get deleted from the group. It's that simple.
Yeah.
The group doesn't tolerate that. The moderators of the group, if someone posts a slightly hateful remark, they must get like 50 notifications within 5 seconds about this thing. And it gets taken down, it gets taken care of. But if you're looking at becoming a nomad, the best investment you can make is at the end of February, come to Schoolie Swarm. And you don't need to have a bus. There are people there in tents. There are people there in
Cars.
box trucks,
RV.
even factory RVs. We even allow those.
And if you do have a bus, like I wish we would have known this. People come with just their empty bus and a mattress.
Yep.
And we thought, we have to have everything finished before we could be part of this community. That's a big mistake.
Yeah,
Come and meet the people and submerge yourself.
And the last Schoolie Swarm, there's a couple that showed up that didn't even have anything. They just came. And, you know, they slept in our bus one night. They slept in Ryan's bus another night. They're sitting over there. Yeah. So
Actually, we had everything. It just broke down.
Yeah.
Again, there you go.
So they had an issue with their bus, and instead of abandoning, they just left the bus there and came up to Schoolie Swarm.
And again, it was because of the community. When we broke down, I was so devastated, and then we realized, well, we can still go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
It was the best time.
yeah, Crystal, you know, wrote that our bus broke down, and it's like many of us reached out to her. We have a spare bed.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
You
Everybody
can.
came
So
through.
you guys stayed 1 or 2 nights with us. You stayed with Ryan one night. You stayed with someone else another night.
Yep.
And people were almost fighting themselves. No, we want you to stay at our place.
In our bus.
Yeah.
We built these fancy couches. For use them.
Yeah.
Use them, please.
We want you to. Yeah.
Ivan will make fun of me if I don't have friends stay over.
No. But nonetheless, so I think in closing, I think we've been talking for probably about an hour now. So we'll let you go. But you can follow all of us, starting with you guys at.
Lopez_around the world. And we also have studioexpress.art, A-R-T. And that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the works.
And you can find me pretty much anywhere at Seeking Discovery or seekingdiscovery.com.
And for us, it's LaCroix Cruiser. Any of the platforms, we're there. We don't have a website yet, but we're probably never going to have a website. I'm very much a minimalist and nomad. I don't even own a computer. Everything is done on my phone. So
That's awesome.
no, I'm lazy. And it just takes up too much space. So with that, thank you very much. We'll ask you to go to all our channels, and this video is not just posted on this channel, it's posted across all 3. So if you want to see the video again, go give someone else some love. And subscribe to their channels, give us thumbs up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, all the standard stuff. And follow along. See our adventure. Have fun with us. See and, you know, be with us on our travels.
Yeah.
And you never know.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the
Maybe
road.
one
Down
day.
the road.
See you down the road. Good.
That's all I wanted to add.
Do you want to add that? That's it.
Anything you'd like to add?
I think the only thing when we were talking about water tanks, where you can get them, so when you're trying to find unique shapes and sizes to fit into your non-traditional houses, one of the best resources I found was Class A Customs, and you can literally get any shape and size freshwater tank, gray water tank, or black water tank delivered to your doorstep, easy peasy.
Yeah. Or do like we did and build your own.
Well,
How did you do that?
Got some plastic sheeting and welded it together. So our tanks are very much custom built to fit into our bus, to maximize the amount of space used. So there are a lot of options.
very much a lot of options.
Options are good.
We'll edit that in. Okay.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Ready, break.
Everybody got their iPhones? We'll do an airdrop of this, and that way you can edit it yourself when you want to.